In this video, I'll show you how to set a quality threshold for your link building and why it's important to have a criteria for the links that you build. I've built links for all kinds of companies for more than a decade. I've done everything from buying link insertions to pitching guest posts to spinning up digital PR campaigns. And one of the big things that I've noticed that not a lot of people talk about is setting a quality threshold or a criteria for your link building. All of the larger companies that I've worked with over the years who are spending a significant amount on link building all had some sort of criteria or threshold for what they considered a quality link worth paying for. So I'm going to show you how to set yours and why it's important to have one. A link building quality threshold is a set of criteria or traits that a website should have in order to be considered a quality link. These traits can include the domain rating, the authority rating, or the domain authority. It could be total traffic that the website gets. It could include how many keywords the website ranks for. The specific criteria that your website is going to go for is going to be different and it's going to be unique. It's often determined by whoever's in charge of the SEO, and then anyone involved in the financial side of it, like CFO, founder, CEO, might also want to have a say in the criteria and the budget as well. And the main reason that you should have a link building criteria is not all links are created equal. Getting a million backlinks from DR0 websites or brand new websites or just websites that have no authority is not going to matter at all. And probably one link from a DR90 website is more valuable than a million DR0 backlinks. By DR, I mean domain rating. That's Ahrefs' stat for the overall domain authority. SEMrush has their own scoring system. So does Moz. It really depends on what tool you're using. I use Ahrefs, so I'm going with domain rating. By setting a link building criteria, you're going to ensure all of the links that you work hard to acquire and spend money on acquiring are going to be worth it, and they're going to help your SEO strategy in the long run. Building links takes effort and money, so having a criteria is definitely recommended. Now let's look at how to actually set your link building criteria. To do this, you're going to want to hop into your favorite tool of choice, whether that's Ahrefs or SEMrush or whatever you use. And what you want to be thinking about is actually what's the least you're willing to pay for. We want to set the floor, not the ceiling. If you set a really unrealistic criteria like DR80 and up, it's going to severely limit the types of links that you can get. I'm looking at remote.com here, and I just filtered to DR80, and they only have 498 links that are DR80 or up. And this is a fairly large website, but if I filter to DR40 and up, that's going to jump up to 3,673 links. So again, you don't want to limit yourself too much. Let's go through some of the common criteria that I've used in the past. So number one is the industry and the relevance of the link itself. Over the years, Google has got a lot smarter at what kinds of links are valuable for a website. These days, it needs to be highly relevant. For example, remote.com, their highest authority links are coming from like Gravatar and GitHub and Google Docs. Those are a high domain rating, but they're not actually passing a lot of ranking power or link juice or authority or page rank, whatever you want to call it, because they're not that relevant. However, a link from the New York Times that points towards one of their digital PR articles, it looks like it is a statistic that they published. This is much more valuable than a link from Google Docs. Here's another example of a really great and relevant link coming from buffer.com, which is a social media scheduling software. They got a link from How We Hire, a look inside our hiring process. So it's on a pretty relevant website and it's about hiring, and then it links to remote.com. So that's highly relevant. So relevance is always important. Domain rating and traffic and all those other stats are never as important as the actual relevance of the link itself. So that's why you should always include a list of the types of industries, the types of websites, or the niches that you are willing to pay for to get a link from. Next up would be the domain authority or the domain rating. Assuming that you have the relevance component, that's the next one that you want to be looking at. And these are basically just scores that assess the overall authority of a website, and it's based on links usually. Another one that's great to look at is the actual page authority itself, the URL rating. This link here is from a DR91 site, qz.com, and the URL rating is 11, which means that it has a lot of referring domains and potentially internal links pointing towards it. You can see 122 referring domains here. The higher the URL rating of an individual page, the better. Pages with a high URL rating are more likely to rank for keywords, and they're going to pass more PageRank over to your site. Another really good one is the domain traffic itself. There's actually a lot of dead websites in the link building space. For example, I could set a domain traffic filter to be 1,000 or above. Any domain that gets less than 1,000 clicks probably isn't worth getting a link from, especially for a more established site like remote.com. If you're working on a brand new website or a website that just hasn't established itself on search yet, your criteria might be a lot lower. I'm going for a higher criteria for a more established website in this video. You don't need to use the exact same criteria as me. I'm just showing you how I think through this. Another really good one to look for is do follow. So if you're going to spend money on links, you want them to be do follow. That means that it passes PageRank. There's a lot of websites that you can get a link from where the link is actually no follow, which means that it has no ranking benefit. And you might always acquire links naturally that are no follow or not in your criteria. And that's fine. You don't need to do anything about those. It's kind of just a side effect of being on the web. But if you're going to be spending money on link building, all of the links that you acquire should be do follow. Another good one is language. You might want to specify the language that you're going for. If you're in North America, your links should be as well. Unless you're an international company and you have a multilingual language strategy, this part you should go for the main language of your website. There's actually a lot of other criteria you could go for. Another great criteria to have would be no links from domains that you already have a link from. There's a law of diminishing returns when you get a link from the same domain more than once. Every time you get a link from the same domain, it becomes significantly less valuable. So I've got a much longer list here on my blog, and I'll share the link to that as well if you want to check them out. But basically, you want to go for publicly accessible website stats, the things that any SEO is familiar with, like domain rating. Going for industry standard metrics makes it a lot easier for people working at different companies to work together. Anybody can hop on Ahrefs and look at these statistics. Same with SEMrush, and that's why you want to use publicly accessible website stats. Here's an example of a low-end link building criteria. This would be something for a newer website that wasn't that established. So the niche or the industry is technology, business, and travel. Domain authority would be DR20 plus, 1,000 plus monthly organic traffic. Site age would be how old the website is, 3+ years old. Do follow only. No PBNs, no homepage links, no profile links, no forum comments. Once you have your link building criteria, the best thing that you can do is write it down and turn it into a document that you can share internally and externally on what your specific criteria is and what to do if the criteria is not met. I've used these types of documents in the past to work directly with link builders, and I even set up agreements that a link would not be paid for if it didn't meet this criteria. It'll get referenced frequently by anybody involved in building links. And this is actually a template that you can use. I'll share the link to it as well. You can make a copy of this exact document and customize it to your liking. And once you have your link building criteria document, the next thing you want to do is share it with anybody involved in link building. So that would be your link building team, contractors, vendors, and then like the leadership team, CEO, CFO, director, VP, whatever your organizational structure looks like. And then you also want to use this criteria to vet links that are coming in. Anytime you get a new link that you paid for, you should open up this document and double check all of your filters to make sure that the link meets those standards. So I'll share the link to that document so that you can customize it. All of the larger businesses that had a significant link building budget all use these kind of criteria documents. Everybody's was a little bit different, but everybody had one. If you don't have a set link building criteria, you're going to end up dealing with headaches, from irrelevant links, low quality links, spammy links. The list goes on and on, so you may as well set a criteria, specify it in a document, and make it part of your workflow. So that's how and why you should set a link building criteria. Again, I'll share the link to that template so that you can customize it and create your own link building criteria and share it with your team. Thanks.